The instructor station, it's often underestimated the role of the instructor, because actually the instructor teaches the student and the student expects to find a good environment in the cockpit. But as important is that the instructor finds a good environment in the instructor station, so an environment which allows the instructor to control the session intuitively. So the one important part for the instructor to work with is, of course, the map page, where he has situational awareness, where he can also then show profiles, vertical profiles, especially in connection with approaches, also the horizontal view compared to the runway, so the localizer deviations. The other very important aspect for the instructor station is the malfunctions. As far as I can say, we support a wealth of malfunctions for the different aircraft systems. We structure them in a way so that they are related to avionics, to engine, to aircraft frame topics, to the various subsystems. Within the avionics, for example, we have then a subsystem for the PFD, for secondary flight display, where we have various possibilities to throw malfunctions, for example, also to fail sensors, that, for example, the airspeed sensor is broken, that will lead in the primary flight display to a display that's it's crossed out. But if the secondary flight display is still available, then the input from the secondary flight display will be displayed on the primary flight display. So the systems then react according to the malfunction, and the pilot becomes aware, of course, of the status of the aircraft, and then has to do an assessment. Well, with the present status, with the present malfunctions, what am I to do? And then it goes into operation with emergency checklists, and so the pilot can then take a decision how to proceed in his flight and report that back to the instructor. So the instructor from the instructor station has many ways to control the session. There's also the possibility to record the session for later debrief and for replay of the sessions. We usually set it up in our standard FMPD products is that the instructor station is separate from the cockpit, but still arranged in a way that the pilot can both look into the cockpit and, if required, also talk directly to the cockpit crew without the headsets. Or in other training scenarios, can also talk to the cockpit crew through the headsets and be in contact like that. The instructor also has the capability to use a tablet, and so with this he can be kind of part of the session in the cockpit, but still control the session. So he does not necessarily need to sit outside in the cabin, in the instructor cabin, but he could also sit on the second seat and do control the session from there and let the pilot concentrate on his work and the instructor at the same time interact and interfere with the settings. This is a development that we have been doing over the past 2 years now, and that is rolling out, and that has taken into account, of course, the capabilities of today's devices. Touchscreen use is an important aspect, and intuitive touchscreen use. And also one of the main goals was to get to the command quickly without the need to open 15 sub-dialogues and then pressing 12 times OK to get to an effect. So when you want to go to a malfunction, then you go down a tree. Of course, you have to open the tree leaves, otherwise the list would be too abundant. But nevertheless, you quickly get to the point where you can do the interaction with the system and trigger the action.